Good morning. It's Monday. I gave you a minute of Epidemic Sound instrumental or royalty-free music. We're having coffee with Jimmy. Who? Yeah, this scary guy over here, downtown Boca Raton. See the message up on top? In case Facebook bails out on you, go to youtube.com, search for FAU4U, and you can find us live in any color. Yep. I'm just right of middle. A little bright. Let's turn the lights down a little bit. Yeah, I got all the fine tuning that life can afford. Episode 588. I'll have you know. Can you believe it? I'm keeping track of it now, and I show it in my date. Monday, April the 13th. I'm happy to say I filed my 2025 tax return. Oh, 38 pages of stuff. Yeah. Joint return with Maryland, of course. Got a real estate brokerage. Personal, made a fee. I got 1099 on the fee. So I had to do Schedule C or something like that. Thanks to the genius of TurboTax. Yeah. I'm sure when the IRS gets a TurboTax return, they figure, you know what? They've asked all the questions. Yeah. They do. They ask 1,000 questions. Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do that? And if you can't figure out an answer, you can hit a question mark. You get some help. It's automated computer help, but help nonetheless. Yeah. So, be there or be square. All right, and let's see the latest news. What do you call it? I haven't checked my tickets yet. I haven't even put them in my secret envelope. There was no winner. Oh, here's my secret envelope. That's not so secret. Is there anything in there for me? Yeah. There's a ticket. I have not checked. Better put these two in and check these. I don't know what's going on with Jimmy. I have a few dollars, which I can. That'll be for tomorrow. Tuesday, Friday. See right here. Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday. Twice a week. Look at that. The $110 million lottery for Mega Millions. 3, 18, 36, 42, 49. Mega Millions poll 6. No one got it. That's our 7th try. See number 7 over here? The number 8th drawing. So it's rolling over. Roll over to $120 million. Holy miracle there. Yeah. There's nothing official about this spreadsheet. Be it known. Oh, look at that. There we go. We need to. I cut off the. I went one clip too many. Yeah. I cut off the lump sum payout. You see in italics up on the top? The slightly slanted font. Lump sum payout, after tax payout, and dollar values are estimates produced by the author. Yours truly. Data presented have A, not been confirmed, and B, not endorsed by any lottery. None. This is not an official lottery anything. It's an official Jimmy spreadsheet that I produced on Apple's numbers. They call it numbers. Windows has a similar application called Excel, an Excel spreadsheet. This is a numbers spreadsheet. If you know how to do Excel, then you pretty much know how to do numbers. Yeah. So you can see I have the draw date on the very left. On the very, very left is the number of the draw, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that has stepped up 10 million every drawing. If there's more sales of the tickets, that would produce a slightly larger rollover. For it, then it would show it, like 122 million instead of 120. So apparently there is equal to or slightly less ticket sales than 120 million would justify for the grand prize. They have to have all that money locked up. There are, in case you don't know, there are 123,000 independent, separate lottery machines out there, authorized lottery retailers. Your local gas station, your local grocery store, they choose to do it. Many of them do. We have a little, I guess it'd be a Turkish grocery called Sultan's. And they have a little lottery machine in there, the same machine as everybody has. It takes money and spits out tickets. And if they're Mega Millions, they're $5 a ticket. As of April of last year, I think it was April, they started the $5 ticket instead of the $2 ticket. They changed the balls around, I think. Yeah. There's 24 yellow balls instead of 25, and a machine over on the right side of your screen if you happen to see a live broadcast of the bouncing ping pong balls. And then on the left machine, it's got 70 balls, 1 through 70. where they get the 3, 18, 36, 42. So there's 70 balls. When they pull the 3, then there's 69 balls bouncing around. Once they get the 18, then there's 68 balls bouncing around. Yeah. That's how it works. So the grand prize is the winning odds, or more properly stated, the losing odds of 290 million to 1. It's actually a little worse than that. It's 400,000 to 1 odds that you will not win. Yeah. But if lightning strikes and you do win, hey, what the hell? What does 110? Well, we're up to 120 million tomorrow night at 11 p.m. April 14th, day before tax day. April 15th is a Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I did my taxes 2 days early. And I have 2 days to help our boys do their tax return on TurboTax. Yeah. Anyway, so you can see right here, it is my estimation, Jimmy's estimation. Have you? You can see right up there, you can see the column heading. You can see the Mega Millions winning numbers for this from March 20, which was my birthday. Presents are receivable. That's okay. The fact that I am talking is enough gift for me. Mega Millions winning numbers, so you can see that. I have it in ping pong ball format. I do a print screen right off the official. I'll show you. Oh, there it is, the official lottery. See, Florida Mega Millions site. See, Friday, April 10th. I can't reverse pinch this. It's not reverse pinchable. You see 3, 18, 36, 42, 49. Mega Millions ball 6. I get it right from the site. You wonder how come I get the black circles? Well, I push the 3 little bars up there. There we go. Winning numbers. Then I touch Mega Millions. There it is. That's where I get the balls with the black lines around them like a circle. That way I don't have to type it. There are no typos. This is officially what comes through the, what do you call it now? They, on the very bottom of the page, I think, somewhere in the footnotes with Mega Millions, they say, we're not responsible for the act. Well, yes, you are. You know, we're going to sit. So I do a print screen. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, print screen. Blink. And now we have this. And I do this. Yeah. You see? I wonder how I get those nice little circles with the balls. And I do that. And then I push this. So that's the 110. April 10th. Yeah. Friday. And I come up like this. And I go so that the distance between the bottom of the circle and the bottom of that crop line is the same as the distance between the balls. If you're wondering what my methodology is, see that right there? And I do the same thing on each end so that the distance around the balls. Ooh, Amber Alert. Amber Alert. Everything's buzzing. Oh my God. Santa Rosa County, a kidnapping. Holy mackerel there. Woo! And you touch something. Ooh. Yeah, see. Someone got kidnapped in Santa Rosa County. I didn't know there was such a county. All right, so there you go. That's how I get the balls. Then I do save the photos. And that way I don't have to worry about typos. All right, going back to this. Yeah, so that's how I got this little strip. And then I have to increase the contrast and turn up the brightness so the background is exactly white. All these are exactly white. I didn't have quite the proper margin around this one. See how it's like too close to the edge. All the rest are pretty good. I'm getting better at it with time.
45.
It's not an exact science. What can I tell you? So if you elect to, since I just did my tax return, if you were to be the $120 million winner, you see that 54,290? Jackpot lump sum. Payout before all federal taxes. And what is that? That's the net present value. What is it equal to? The present value of the future cash flows. What future cash flows, one would say? Well, the cash flows generated by, you see that first payment of $1,806,000, followed by 29 more payments. Yep. For a total of 30 payments. You get that $1,806,000 day one when you show up to the lottery, somewhere between 179 days from the draw date. Don't be late or your ticket is null and void, and there's no winner. So if you were the only winner and you didn't show up within 180 days of the draw date, you're SOL. You know what that means? Everyone under 16, hold your ears. You're shit out of luck. SOL. I will not say it again. Now, if you want the lump sum, you must announce to your lottery retailer, your regional office, your head office, I don't know who that was. We need to get back to, I guess I didn't start that over. All right. Back to business here. Yeah. Now we're good with that. We need to go back to Ecamm Live. There we are. Ecamm Live. There we are. Okay. I'm shaking the lottery numbers. And the answer is this is lottery rules now. Pay attention, James. I am not giving advice to anybody out there in TV land or whatever the whole land this is. Jackpot land. YouTube.com. My handle is FAU4U. Having been or am on the faculty at FAU, College of Science. Thank you, John Harlan, and the chair of that seat, Russ Ivey. He's the chair. It's like the chairman, but in academia, we call it the chair. We. That's That's a stretch. I got a little mailbox in the faculty lounge, which is about as big as this room, with all little mailboxes and things. Yeah, I think I still got a little mailbox there. Stuff with notices that I don't pick up. Anyway, here's rules. I just gave you the 180-day rule. You must turn in your ticket, let's say, before 180 days from the draw date, which is April 14th. If I was the sole winner of $120 million. Oh, jeez. Woo! That's a life changer for the entire Wilson clan. Yeah. Yeah, we'll hand it out very nicely. We'll have a check writing 4 o'clock dinner in the Luna Lounge. Cocktails. They're on the house. On the Jimmy. Yeah. Stay sober, though, because you want to receive your check, you have to walk up and get it. Yeah. Don't trip and fall when you pick up your $1 million check or whatever it is. 120 million. Yep. So you got 180 days to turn in your ticket up in Lottery Central. James, don't forget. Also, James, if you want the jackpot lump sum feature, you have to make that declaration within 60 days of the draw date, or else you're getting the annuity. That 1,806 in the bottom right corner of your screen. Whoops, I'm sorry. I have to shrink this up a little bit. There you go. Now you can see the 1,806. Sorry about that. Yeah, I have to push in this a little because I got more pixels. On my iPad than I've actually got produced on the high definition TV screen that you're looking at. Assuming you're looking, and if you're not looking and you're listening, because you're driving down the road and you're tuned into FAU4U on YouTube Live or Facebook Live. It's the same handle. How about that? Yeah, I grabbed that handle before anyone else could. There you go. So now you can see Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday, Tuesday, Friday. And the next drawing is Tuesday, April 14th, one day before tax day. Now this would go on your 2026 tax return. And where would it go? I just happen to have the place where it goes. It goes on line 1H of your 1040 SR for senior. Or if you're not a senior and you get the 1040, whatever, regular form, TurboTax will tell you. Automatically picks the right form based on your age and all this kind of stuff. But there it is. Line H. 1H. There's a 0 in there for me at the moment. On my 2026 tax return, who knows? Maybe I get all the winning numbers. The chances are, of course, that I will not. The 93-year-old person that refused to sell her home to the Masters golf course that spent $280 million on expansions. I know the lady. She had $1 million checking account opened in her name at our bank, in Boca Bank, a few years ago. Nora Pascarella. Yeah, Weston Sizzler person. She made up the menus. Her husband did everything else. She was in charge of menus. And, you know, it's a husband and wife team. They did everything. They sold Weston Sizzler. And she was number one, or she was on page one, I should say, of the deposit list of, yeah, big bank in Georgia. Yeah, Nora Pascarella. My friend Bill Barnett stayed at her house many a weekend, including during Masters Week. And they'd take in some golf. Watch it. I mean, yeah. Bill tells me there was a time where she'd be chasing them all around the house. Yeah. She had like four. You'd open up this closet and they'd be stuffed with $100 bills, strapped $100 bills. She had like $4 million hidden all over the house, just in case the shit hit the fan and she couldn't get her hundreds of millions in cash that was in her bank account after tax. Made a lot of money. Husband died. She got all the money. I believe she's passed away. Yeah. I got it right here, Nora Pascarella. This is public record. She passed away on Monday, January 8th of 2018 at the age of 93. Yep. I remember she gave me her driver's license. I said, I need your driver's license, please. To make a copy of that. She said, Bill Barnett was her boyfriend. She said, Bill, would you leave the room, please? She was afraid of him getting any indication of her age because she was older than he was. This is when she was like 70 something. It was 20 years ago, yeah. So that'd be 2006. So, yeah, 12 years later, she died. So sorry, Nora. Nice lady. Very nice lady. Bill was one of my best friends. Did our personal tax returns he was a CPA. Cleaning, pressing, and alterations. He's duly licensed CPA, did our tax returns for probably 30 years. Yep. That's a guess on the number of years, but he passed away and all my tax records. Where the hell did they go? Were they properly shredded? Who the hell knows? He passed away. He went up to visit his son and never came back. Yeah, Ed McCluskey was very unhappy. Edward H. McCluskey Sr., former executive of Kennedy & Cohen, died on June 25th, 2009. Oh my God. At the age of 77. He ran hard and put himself away wet. He should have lived longer. He was a real exciting, he's kind of a Trumpian kind of a person, actually. If I had to compare him with somebody that other people could kind of relate to in a sense. Real blustery, exciting marketing guy. Let's go here, let's go there. Jimmy, we're going to Kansas City for lunch. You, me, and Bill are going to Kansas City for lunch. Pack your bags. I always had a bag pre-packed in my closet in my office. Yeah, I got a bag. Yeah, I got my charged extra shaver, extra toothbrush and stuff. Carried on the plane. Oh, I'm ready to go. And everyone was ready to fly. He'd call up. We shared a jet airplane with what do you call it? Um, Lester A. Byron, Les Byron. Yeah, we we bought a jet together. We had it inspected. It was a jet that was owned by what do you call it? Oh God, it's a connection. It's a shopping center owner in Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock.
The head pilot for this unnamed shopping center developer flew this plane, so he knew it well. We knew the pilot. Pilot introduced us to the airplane because said unnamed shopping center developer wanted a bigger one. So this 7-passenger Sabreliner we bought, put in a new avionics package in it. Cost about $1,250,000. We flew it all over the Midwest. and Les Byron was a relatively large local general contractor. Builds buildings, builds shopping centers, builds office buildings up to 5-story. Anyway, Ed passed away. I just did a little search on him because I did a little search on North Pasquarella because I heard about this. And I got to the bottom of that story, and can you imagine? This is a story about the Masters, and she would not sell her house. Sell it to the Masters Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia. Yeah. And it wasn't. This house wasn't exactly on the golf course. It was like one street away from it. And they secretly were buying up all the houses around the outside edge of Augusta, for like customer services, parking, just they were feeling growing pains because hundreds of thousands of people walk all around the golf course, for the Masters, which was just conducted, as you may know. And here is the winning results. I'll have to make that a little bit bigger. A little hard to see. You can see Rory. He won it by 1 stroke. Can you believe it? Scotty was like 4 or 5 off the lead. And by the end of the day, he was within 1 stroke. My God. Justin Rose within 1 stroke of him, along with Cameron Young. And so there are 3 tied. Well, there are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 that were tied for 3rd place. They each got $1 million, $1,080,000. Scotty Scheffler, who is one stroke better than them at minus 11 after 4 days of golf. You can see the 4 rounds. Adds up to 277. So you got 278, 277, and 276. I remember telling Daniel, I said, you know what? So, when you miss a putt by 1 millimeter, it could be $1.4 million. It could be $1 million putt. Look at the difference between winner and second place. 4.5 million and 2.4 million. That's a 2 million one putt. Woo! God. When you see it swerving around the cup and not dropping. And Scotty Scheffler had like 3 or 4 of those. They either drop in or they don't drop in. They drop in is a tie, and they have a playoff. 2 of them drop in, he wins instead of loses. There's 2 things these pro golfers are interested in. Yeah. There's Rory, there's Scotty. There's the payout numbers. There's 2 things. They want to win. No one plays for second place. No one remembers who got second place, much less third. We're tied for third. At least an American got second place. He's labeled the best golfer in the world, highest ranked golfer in the world according to some point system they have. I'm sure with his second place winning, he'll remain the top in the world. But he needs to start winning something. He hasn't, but he's at least his first round he was at 70 instead of 74, which basically, but he had 74 the next day. So he's 144 after the first 2 days. Well, look at Rory. He had 131, and Scotty was 144. That's a big difference. That's our 13-stroke advantage. And round by round. Look at Rory's 3rd and 4th round. 73-71. Scotty's 65-68. That's how he caught up. Yeah. Because he's 65-68 is one higher than 65-67. And that's the difference between winning and losing. 1 stroke. Rory gets his 2nd Masters jacket, and Scotty does not get his 3rd. He got it in 2002 and 2004. And then Rory got one last year and this year. So maybe Scotty will get it next year. Who knows? He'll certainly be high in the rankings for, when they bet, sports book bet, whatever. I don't do it. Never done it. I'd rather waste my money on Mega Millions. But can you imagine you miss a putt and it's 2.1 million. The difference between 4.5 million. Look at that. 4.5 million, 2.4 million, 1.80 million. Oh, whoa. So if you miss that stroke, that's 1.4 million. You miss that one, it's 2.1 million. Ah! Now you know why their knees are knocking. If anybody's knees are knocking, they're not used to being up in the stratosphere like these guys are. See, down here, yeah, it's only $150,000 putt. But up here, it's $1 million putt, 2 million for putt, 2 million 1. Oh God, that's a lot of money. So they play for prestige. So they want to win because they want their name on top. They want the big trophy or the green jacket, whatever. And if they're not going to get that, then the next thing is it's the money because they are professional golfers. And this prize money is the way they make money. Now, they are usually a pro in a golf course somewhere, which that earns them a few bucks. And the club has the prestige of this professional golfer having his name on the golf course. I don't know where Scotty was from Texas. I don't know where his. Seems like he lives in. Hey Siri, where does Scotty Scheffler live now, the professional golfer? Resides in Dallas, Texas. Well, excuse me. Thank you, Siri. How fast is that? Goes to the internet, pulls it out. I don't even have to lift a finger. I just have to look around and see which screen that answer popped up on. It was a screen up here. Go figure. Come on, wake up. I don't think I ever started this screen. Let's put it on Flipboard. I can. You don't mind? Oh, now it just froze. No, I don't. There we go. What? Flipboard. Touch Flipboard. There we go. It's like a little slideshow. Finger viewing pleasure, which you can see. It's. I got an iPad here. I got an iPhone there. iPad up here. This iPad shows the exact time and day within 50 milliseconds. It's 10, 11, and 23, 4 seconds. 5, 6. See it counting right there? This is my elapsed time, meaning I've been on the air for 43 minutes and 20 seconds. 21, 22, 23. Yeah. You can listen to this anytime, 24 hours a day. Just go to Facebook, if you can find it, at FAU4U. Do a search, and they should be listed. The more reliable, Facebook is hanging in there. They're still clocking in here. They've been. I don't know. I don't get it. I think what was going on is YouTube. Wait a minute. X, Twitter. I can't seem to get Twitter to play. My system here says the signal is going to Twitter, but it's not going to Twitter. And it's interfering with Facebook. So then Facebook drops out because Twitter my system continues to try to connect. And it doesn't happen, and it interferes, I think. So I stopped even trying to get to Twitter. And now Facebook is staying. So I have a simulcast at the moment. For the last 44 minutes, they're still hanging in there. Thank you, Facebook. Yeah, I think I'm paying for this advanced service. Facebook Live. That's where I started, actually. I've got 1,600 friends, a little more. And I've got the same amount of friends, I believe, or close to it, on YouTube, which recently has been the most reliable signal that people can get live, or these things are recorded. I don't know how long they hold the recordings, but they're out there. And you can dial in any time, 24/7. Just do a search for FAU for you. You can see it right up there in the what do you call it, ticker tape that's scanning at the top of your screen. There it is, starting now. Please use FAU for you. There it is. 4 letters and the number 4. You can use FAU for you with youtube.com/FAU for you. And then even if you show up 10 minutes late, you'll be time shifted by 10 minutes, but you'll hear everything. And if you got a question, you can still text it to me. I'll get it 10 minutes late, but I'll get it. And then I'll answer your question and you'll hear it 10 minutes later. That's what would happen. You'd ask your question, you'd send me a text message. That's the easiest thing to do. You can see my phone number up here, 561-416-1100. You can text me. I'll show you the question live, or I'll keep it confidential and I'll answer you on the air, or I will text you back a confidential answer if you so desire. It's always up to you. I would never give out your name or your phone number, though. No. We don't do that. That is always, I wouldn't even know unless I looked it up on, after the show on my text messaging, whatever. Yeah, it would show up there, but I'd have to, get it. Wouldn't show on screen. Nope. I keep it confidential. Anyway, so that's what happened yesterday. It's about 6:30 or so. Rory won by 1 stroke. 1 putt. And then there's a playoff, and then who knows who the hell wins. And everyone is nervous as hell. Scotty's been number 1 or 2. He's been in playoffs. I think he has a very good winning average in playoffs. Anyway, that's a print screen. That's why I can do this reverse pinching and all that stuff. Yeah. We were on the lottery and got interrupted. So you can see here, Jimmy, if you won the $120 million lot, oh, I showed you the tax return. And Scotty just went up another couple of million in earnings. Whew. What was that? 2,000,004. That's not a bad 4 days work. That's this week. Made 2,000,004. I go on line H or woo. Yeah, I showed you some information about a couple of people I knew. They died quite a while ago. Yes. Yeah, so Jimmy, if you win, you put the number in 1H. Yep. TurboTax. I'm sure that would shake them up. Tax Central. Yeah. Little good news for Tesla. Need to brighten up that screen a little bit. Looks a little dull. There we go. I can see what's going on my control panel here. So now I'm a pad and my other screen about the same brightness. You can see right here, yeah. Oh my God, this light is just a little. There we go. Yeah. I got all these iPads, old iPads. I keep. This one keeps the time of day. This one keeps the elapsed time. This one's playing. Uh, what do you call that? Yeah, I'll move over here. You can see it better. Yeah. Apple shuttering its first unionized store. Shuttering. Ooh, that's close. Ah, ouch. I don't know that we're unionized, actually. I don't think they all are. I think it's just location by location. How should we prepare with a looming quantum encryption? Quantum. That's high-powered computing. How to use the new blood pressure tool. Now that is a tool. The last I heard from Apple is that Apple can tell you if your blood pressure is up or not up, but it doesn't give you a number. It just reads over time, over a couple of weeks, it gets your baseline. And then if it's elevated, it says your blood pressure is elevated. I guess, who the hell cares what the number is? Although the Apple Watch did alert me to my wrist went off. It started alarming in some way. And it showed my pulse at like 130. I said, "Oh shit!" I'm watching the news. I'm not in the gym. I just didn't run around a track. Not exercising in any way. I'm sitting. My fanny is on a nice, comfortable couch, and watching the 6 o'clock news with Rick Bear. And the news didn't get me all excited. I mean, the news just started. It's 6:05. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Brett Baer, he's introducing his news segment. Most of my alarms, my watch shows 130 pulse. Thinking, oh shit! So I grabbed my trusty blood pressure cup. I put the blood pressure cup on. It's reading 200 over 100. So, oh shit. Marilyn's outside talking to her sister on the balcony. Yeah. Sun is setting. We had two balconies. We were on a corner. So she's facing east. And the sun is setting in the west. So she's shaded, if you will. I think, I don't know. I don't remember that part exactly, but. No, yeah, the balcony faced south and west. Yeah, we were on a hot corner. So she was on the south balcony looking over the pool, which is on the 5th floor. We were on the 8th floor, so it's 3 stories above the pool. It's nice, when you have an enclosed pool or a U-shaped building. The pool 5 stories above the ground. You don't have like people walking by peeking in the bushes or something. 50 feet above street level. And we were 30 feet above pool level. She's on the outside on the balcony. It's cool. I pound on the glass and say, open the sliding door. I open the slider a little bit. I said, Marilyn, we got to go to the hospital right now. and I had my bag. So I run around the house getting my goodies quick, like my, you know, my headphones, my headphone, the C cable. I was ready to go to the hospital. I mean, I had a little black bag with stuff in it, a little 6-ounce bottle of mouthwash. It's kind of like my travel bag, when you go, visit somebody on an airplane. So I had my airplane to go bag, kind of all ready, hanging on a hook somewhere. So I grabbed that. Then I went to the glass store, said, "Mal, we got to go to the hospital right now. I'm having some kind of a heart thing. I don't feel pain. Yeah, I'm not rolling over on the floor with a huge cramp. But something's not right. We got to go right now." Hang up the phone. So she did. I mean, she was she's a trooper. She got her stuff ready together. I said, I'm gonna be in the hospital for a few days. Could be a week. So get your shit together. You don't have to stay a week. You can go home in the evenings if you please. Go to sleep, feed the cats, whatever. So we were ready. We were in the car and we were heading to the hospital. I said, forget the ambulance. Are you kidding me? You'll get here in 20 minutes. With you, I'll be there in, 8 minutes, 6 minutes, whatever. Let's get the hell out of here. So we did. And she stops at a red light. I said, "Marilyn, go through the red light. You're killing me." Literally. "Go through the red light now, goddammit. Get out of the driver's seat." That was my biggest stress. She finally went through the red light. I said, "Well, explain it to the policeman, somewhere before death." Oh, shit. So she went through the red light, made a U-turn, in the middle of a freaking intersection, swooped around back, got through the hospital, get into the hospital. I said, "Just drive right up into emergency. Don't even think about parking the car. They have a parking lot attendant that'll take your car." And so I said, "Walk me right in. Hurry up. Give the guy the Tesla key thing." And so we got in there, and I got me a wheelchair, and I'm like slumped over, having a heart attack. And they put me in bed 13 in the emergency. They did a blood test, that test, put the cuff on the thing and said, "Ooh, big blood pressure, heavy heart rate." I said, "Yeah, that's why I'm here." So what do they do? Nitroglycerin and a heparin drip. Heparin keeps your blood from clotting, and the nitroglycerin dilates all your capillaries. Instant drop in blood pressure. All your capillaries are expanded, so the cells go through the capillaries. You have the enzyme that indicates a heart attack. Yes, I imagine so. Dr. Ordonez, the cardiologist extraordinaire, looks at these, says, "Jimmy, you've had a heart attack." I said, "I suspected as much. That's why I immediately came to the hospital." He goes, "My wristwatch alarm went off, alerting me to an unusual heart rate, considering that I'm sitting on the couch watching the news." And I got rudely interrupted by my watch going crazy. Thank you, Apple Watch. And I put the blood pressure cuff on, and it was 200 over 100. So that's not good when you're sitting on the couch. So I knew something was up. I figured I'd let you figure it out. He said, "Yes, you've had a heart attack, but you came here so quickly the heart attack didn't get to where it becomes dramatic. So you have a slight, in the very bottom of the heart, the very bottom, you know, it's almost like a V-shaped. The very bottom, there is some dead muscle. That's what happens with a heart attack. Part of the muscle dies. And then it keeps dying as your heart attack expands across your entire heart until such time as your heart stops working. And then you're dead. But you got here so fast, it never had a chance to do all that. Because we stopped it from further escalating. Because we dilated all your not pupils, your capillaries. And we brought your heart rate down. And you're resting comfortably. I said, yes, I am. We're going to do something plasty. Where they stick a thing up your groin and it goes up into your heart muscle, and they look around and do videos, take videos, and still images of your heart and all that. Angioplasty. I knew it was plasty something. Angioplasty. Angiogram. They're pictures and videos. The plasty is they go in the artery and like blow a balloon to like expand, stretch out, you know, the artery that's restricted usually causes the heart attack in the first place. But you do the angiogram first, they examine it. You might have a stent in there, but he didn't stent him. He says, you know what? You need bypass surgery, quadruple bypass surgery is what I'd recommend. These two arteries are really of concern because they're going to be very difficult to do bypass on there because the artery is shrunk to such an extent right where it comes into the heart muscle. And, you know, it's like one cell at a time is getting through there. So the question is, we need to do those two bypasses right up against the heart itself, making for a unique situation. They can do it though. They need to do it. You can't do a stent or else you probably won't survive 4 stents in your present configuration. We need bypasses. Well, the head of cardiology at Boca Regional Medical Center disagreed with my cardiologist. Said, no, we're going to do X instead of Y. And they actually put on a presentation in opposition. Can you believe this? I'm listening to all this stuff in opposition to what my cardiologist wants to do. I said, oh, crap. So Marilyn is sitting next to me. She's listening to all this stuff. So they leave after a half-hour presentation, which I don't want to hear this shit from these surgeons, because my cardiologist doesn't. He says, I've done 5,000 of these. No, I don't do the surgery itself, but I actually recommend the surgeries. And usually the cardiac surgeons, they follow my directions. I tell them what to do, and then they do it. That's kind of how it works. Well, I told them what to do, and they wouldn't do it. And I learned this a couple years later. the unspoken words, the last time they tried this with a similar circumstance, the lady died on the table. We don't want to do that. I said, no, it's plan B. I'm going to take. So he didn't tell me that part. That was in his head. He told me that a couple years later. Can you believe it? He said, oh, yeah, he wanted to do the same thing they did on the lady that he killed 2 days ago. Ooh. He said, yeah, that's why I put my 2 CD-ROMs together. I have an appointment up with Dr. Brian Bethay. He's a cardiac surgeon in the Delray Medical Center. Now, he can come down here, or I can put you in a mobile, what do you call it, ambulance, and truck you up to Delray Medical Center, which actually I would recommend, because then his crew, so you have the surgery people, and then you have their backup, their crew, their anesthesiologists, their, the people that hand him the tools, all the, the nursing staff that he works with every day, all day, doing surgeries on 2 or 3, 4 patients a day. He's got his crew. They all take breaks together. If he comes down here, the crew doesn't come. It's just the 2 of them, and they have to use the Boca crew. Which are fine, but don't you think it'd be better if he was up in his own surgery center? I said, Dr. Ordonez, whatever you say, I do. Yep, you're the man. I am not questioning your judgment. 1 iota. You tell me that the best thing to do is to go. He said, so I'm taking these 2 CD-ROMs. This is like on a Friday afternoon. He said, I'm going to the Delray Medical Center tomorrow morning. I have an appointment with him at 10 a.m. He's got a surgery in the morning. It ends at about 10. I'm in his office at 10. I'm the next on his appointment list. And I'm going to campaign for your surgery to be done Monday morning. So if he says yes, on Sunday we're going to pack you up and transport you to the Delray Medical Center. So that's what happened. Yep. Sunday, they trucked me up there. And Monday morning, I was ready for surgery. Sunday night, they shave you and wash you and all this. It was terrible. The preparation is terrible. Because I'm kind of cold. The rooms are too cold. And then they're, bathing you like you're in a bed, squirting you down with hot water, and they towel you off and wash you with, they shave every goddamn hair off your body. Everywhere. Literally everywhere. And then at 6:30 in the morning, Dr. Brian Bethay comes to the foot of my bed. He says, hi, James. We have a brief conversation. Dr. Bethay, how are you? My name is Jim Wilson. I am very interested in surviving this surgery. As you can tell, my wife and 2 kids are standing there at the foot of my bed also. There's at least 3 of them. I don't know if my daughter made it in time for that 6 a.m. thing. I think she showed up when I was in there. I don't know how that was. She was directly above my head when I woke up, and I saw Rob There's an upside down robin right in front of me, behind me, standing at the head of the bed, leaning over me. As they yanking out the pipes. It's at 8 o'clock at night. I started at 6:30 in the morning. 11-hour surgery. Can you believe it? Ah! They did 2 bypasses, and then it took them another 4 or 5 hours to do the second 2 bypasses, which was the hardest ones. You know, when they chill they chill the heart. They have to rest. They got to let you rest, you know, between them, because they drop your heart to like a couple of beats a minute. Your body can't take too much of that, so they got to work pretty quick. They freeze the heart to slow it down, because they can't have the heart moving around too much when they're trying to stitch a bypass on there. And this was right on the heart muscle, so to speak. I had to cut away the artery so they could get to like a wider opening right at the edge of the muscle. I'm not too sure about all that part. But I imagine that's what they would have to do, which complicated that piece of surgery a bit. But they did it. Said they had to use a gauge 5 artery instead of a gauge 7 artery or something. I forget which way it went. A slightly smaller gauge, but a whole lot more blood supply than what was trickling through the bypass. So he said that'll work good. You know, if you can survive this long with almost no blood going through there, you'll do really good with these arteries. She took them right out the top of your chest and your mammary gland up there. Actually took all the arteries from this section. And they're good for about 35 years. The other arteries only last about 10. Then you got to come back in here for another bypass. Yeah, I'm glad you put me on you got me those 35-year tires. We don't want to have to do that retread. Yeah. Too soon. That's what he did. Yeah. I don't know how he got there from this picture. Went from golf to heart attacks. Anyway. So getting back to the good news about Tesla. Tesla gets FSD, full self-driving supervised approval in the Netherlands. What does that mean? That means the European Union is close behind. So the full self-driving is like a 2-continent thing. This is as of Sunday, yesterday. Look at that, at 10:44 p.m. This news flash comes across the wire. Yep. Or the Facebook, not Facebook, Flipboard. Flipboard. It's an app in the App Store. It works magnificently on an iPad. That's the screen right there, the Flipboard, which is on display over here. See the movement? Apple is shuttering its first unionized store, closing it down. It's non-profitable because of the union wages, apparently. Okay, new Apple scam hits millions of iPhone users worldwide. Draining juice. Yeah, prepare for the booming. How to use Perplexity AI for business research. Yeah. AI, here. See right here, this is AI. I used AI research for figuring out where Nora Pascarola is or was. See, Western Sizzlin. Yeah, I knew her. Nice lady. I knew her when she was like 73. Yeah, it was 20 years. So that's 2008, 7, 20 years. 1998, 1999, yeah. 2000, something like that, yeah. I think I moved to Boca Raton and that was that. Yeah, there, 2020. No, had to be earlier than that. 1990. Yeah, 1990 I moved to Boca Raton from Tampa. So 90, 91, 92, 93 I was at Boca Bank. 94 I was nowhere. 95 I was with Phil Motter asked me to join him to
It's 10:45.
Southern Security Bank Corp. I had to go find a bank, and I did find a bank. That was interesting. Yeah. Yep. And then Ed McCluskey, I want to know what happened to Ed. He passed away in 2009. Interesting. I worked for Ed McCluskey. Died at 77 years old. Prominent figure in the expansion of Kennedy Cohen, a retail chain that became well known in the 1970s. Yeah, I was there. Yes, sir. Be there or be square. Yes, sir. I was there. Woo! He was something. His death notice was published in the Palm Beach Post on June 27. Yeah. I didn't, you know, go to any of his. I didn't know. I wasn't notified. You know, I don't read the obituaries. Someone dies. You know, they don't send out, I guess they do to family and everything, but, you know, just people that used to work for them. You know, Pat McCluskey, she wouldn't bother trying to find me to send me a what do you call it? Although I wish she would have. I would have gone for sure. Marilyn, I would have certainly gone. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was. He appreciated what I was as a young lad working for him, my 20s. Uh-huh. 26, 7, 8. Yeah. Then the stores went in the toilet in the 1975 economic recession. And that's just when we were expanding. So it was like the worst time to expand when a recession's coming. That's when you contract, you know. We were like going up against a bad hurricane and just got swooped up in it and got crushed. We had almost 1,000 employees. My God. Whew. Anyway, so that's when I got into Nora Pascarola. See, there's laying off approximately 670. I wrote the plan. Ed said, well, you got to help me before you go. I told him, I said, you know, Ed, I got to go. You can't afford to have me around here anymore. So instead of you telling me to go, I think I'll just. My last assignment will phase down the company. And the 870 employees I'll do phase 2 to bring it down, 670 layoffs. Closing a bunch of stores. I didn't hang around for the bankruptcy. I was gone before then. Yeah. So we had a superstore before they had superstores. Yeah, and boom. Our signs, I remember getting the signs. We had one guy that was the buyer, another guy that was the sales guy, and then I was in charge of. We had Bill Barnett. He was the finance guy, and then I did everything else. So I managed the warehouses, the bonding of the warehouses, the service department, all that stuff, all their employees. So that was 670 of the 870 employees. Yeah, you can subtract this. I only had 200 left. Brought it down to 200. Yeah, phase 2. Yeah, phase 1, 2, and 3. Phase 3 was the bankruptcy part. I didn't. So you got to bring me. It says you got to bring me down to 200 employees. Okay, I'll write the plan up and calculate, who goes and who stays and all that. So he took my plan and implemented it. I took them down to the 200 employees. Yeah. I wrote the plan and implemented the plan. It's a couple of month process. Because you got to go through each store and figure out who goes and who stays. And oh my God. You got 40, 50-year-old men crying in your office. Yeah. I remember. I had to do it. Anyway, so here's the Kennedy Goins story. AI helped me write this right here that you see right there. The economic downturns of the mid-70s. Yeah, that's what it was. Woo. There's another AI research thing. I had a very important role in all that. Unfortunately. It's a good experience, but I didn't survive. West Palm Beach, Cleveland, Ohio, Milwaukee, yep. We built stores in all those markets. I was in charge of building the stores also. Making sure the building got built according to plans and spec. So I became a general contractor manager. I was a construction manager, so to speak, because every time the contractor would have a question about this and that and outlets, and I told them where to do it. I was right there in my blue jeans and boots, and I was on the site every day. Yeah, had to be, because stuff would come up. The plans don't say everything. So the contractor has to get a hold of the general contractor has to get a hold of the contractor. So I was on site, so I was there. So they could get right to the owner, building owner, in a sense. I was there, represented the owner. The precursor to what? Modern day big box electronics retailers. Yeah. Chain had mostly vanished from the northern and midwestern markets, including Cleveland and Milwaukee. And they focused on its remaining Florida locations. Yep. That's right at the time I took my exit. And the ship sank. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Nora. So that's '70s. So then I got into the banking business. Yeah. Barnett Bank and Royal Trust Bank and Southeast Bank. Yep. And so I moved into Miami and then moved to Tampa and then ended up back in Boca Raton again. Boca Bank. To the big circle. Tampa was one of my favorite places to be. There you go. Here's Marilyn taking a little afternoon nap. What time of day was that? 3:19 p.m. Yeah, exactly. Sunday. Taking a little nap just before we were going to watch the last couple hours of the Masters. Daniel hadn't come over yet. He came over about 4 o'clock, 4:10. Look who's sleeping right next to our little pup. Took a little nap with Marilyn. Yeah. Sleeping right on her head. Her whole body squeezed in behind her shoulder. Yeah. Little puppy dog. Yeah. So I showed you one little extra thing I wanted to show you about the lottery annuity. Do I have a bigger slide of that? No. There's the number. That's the 110 rollover. 5,655. Yeah. So this is right here where we're at. So that 54 million circling back to Mega Millions, where I kind of start off an hour ago. Took a little detour. If you elect within 60 days of the draw date, I would say before 60 days of the draw date, Jimmy, don't forget, you have to tell the lottery officials if you want to elect the lump sum. If you do not notify them within 60 days, the only thing you can get is the 29-year, 30 payment annuity. It's a 5% growing annuity. So, and the initial payment, $1,806,000, based on 120 million. Yeah. So on line H of your financial statement, you put in $54,290,000, or exactly what it was, what it is. The lottery officials will tell you what the jackpot lump sum is. It's the net present value of the future cash flows, starting with that payment of $1,806,000, which you're electing not to take because you want the lump sum. But $54,290,000 is what goes on line H. Now you don't actually get that money because it's subject to a 24% withholding. You see on the top? Federal jackpot payouts are subject to a withholding tax of 24% on everything $600 or more. That's why, in case you've had a lottery winning of $1,000 or two, then your payout would be you have to go to a regional office, because every lottery retailer, the 223,000 of them, they can't handle jackpot withholdings. They don't have any method of taking your, the 24% withholding and sending it somewhere. The regional offices can, and the main office can in your state. Of the 45 states and Virgin Islands and District of Columbia. 45 states and the Virgin Islands and District of Columbia offer Mega Millions. And there are retailers in those locations. 223,000 of them. All over the country. Yeah, amazing. What an accounting nightmare, huh? Trying to make sure all those lottery retailing machines balance every night and every week, and the money flows to the headquarters of the states. Every drawing, to try and figure out if there is a jackpot winner or not. So if the jackpot winner, Jimmy, is in Florida, and you're the winner, you got to tell them within 60 days of the draw date your intentions to either you're getting the annuity unless you tell them I want lump sum. I think that's, the default is you get the annuity. So if you fail to tell them within 60 days, you got the annuity. I mean, you can go to lottery people within 60 days and tell them you want the annuity. Or you can tell them I want the jackpot. But if you want the jackpot, you have to show up. You have to tell them before 60 days of the draw date, or else you have no choice but to receive the 1,806,000 in round numbers. Yeah. Anyway, so let's say, Jimmy, I won, and I elect to take the $54,290,000 jackpot lump sum. $120 million would generate $54,290,000 grand prize. That goes on line H, by the way. And then there's another line where you'd put in the 24%, which, it's like $13 million of a portion of your federal tax. Oh, and by the way, you better save of that 41 million that actually gets credited to your TD bank account. Oh yeah, that's a serious number. That goes into your TD bank account. You better put aside $7 million in the side pocket, because that's the additional tax you're going to have to pay when you file your taxes in April of that. So if you win it tomorrow, April of 2027, you're going to do your tax return, and you got to attach a check of $7 million, or you can wire transfer it. Yeah, TurboTax will handle that for you. Can you imagine? $7,057,070. They'll calculate it to the dollar. Yeah. Then your TurboTax, your TD bank account would have already shrunk to $34,202,000. Poor baby. So that's the net after all your taxes. See the column heading here? Jackpot lump sum payout after federal income tax. The maximum federal income tax of 37%. So you see in black and white there, jackpot after 37% FIT, federal income tax. If you're a tax guy, which I'm not. I just got it from a website somewhere. 34,202,000. That's after all federal tax. Now, if you live in Florida, there is no state income tax. You live in New Jersey, you're going to have to write another 7,050,000. You know, they're 13% income tax. You know, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts. Yeah, you're going to have to pay another 7 million out of that 34 million. That leaves you what, to 27 million. So, Jimmy, if you don't live in Florida, move to Florida and you'll save $7 million in additional tax if you're moving from New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, or California, maybe some other states that have, 10, 11, 12, 13% state income tax. Florida has no state income tax. So that 34 million, that's the only tax there is, the federal income tax, the 37%. You surely are in the maximum tax bracket. So that's, plus or minus something. That's what your TD Bank account will look like after you pay all your federal taxes. Yeah. Now, of that 34 million, we're going to, divide that in half. You go 17 million, 17 million. 17 million goes in the account of Jimmy and Marilyn. And then we're going to write some checks to, let's 17 million. So 10 million, we're going to give 2.5 million. We're probably going to give 3 million to our 2 kids down here in Florida and 2 million to our 2 older kids that live in Virginia and Maryland. Yeah, I think we'll do that. 3322. That way, the younger ones get a little bit more, so they have the ability to earn a little more interest during their midlife time. I think that. See if Maryland will go along with that. So that gives away 10 million. And we got 7 million left. And we'll give $1 million to each of the other 5 heirs. Not heirs, but as for Sturpees. Marilyn's a couple of sisters, sister-in-law, Janine. So she get $1 million. Bob get $1 million. What do you call it? Judy Dordell up in Wisconsin. She get $1 million. So they all get $1 million. And Janine's daughter should get $1 million. Jane's kid get $1 million. Yeah, George, you get $1 million. Yeah. So that's 7 of those people. So that's 7 million plus 10 million. That's 17 million. Yeah. And I think we got $1 million left over. We'll pay interest out of that. We'll put that in an interest-bearing account and give that to Tunnels for Tower. The interest on the $1 million. And be $1,202,000. So what will that be? $1,202,000 times 0.04 at the moment. 48,000 a year. So divide that by 12. It's a month. Divide that by 2. So Tunnels for Towers get $2,000 a month in interest. Oh, Facebook just stopped. Yeah, not bad. An hour and 40 minutes. I have to tell them that will continue without. Yeah. We'll continue with YouTube. Thank you very much. So instead of a simulcast, the back end of this will be a monocast. Yeah, that's very good. Facebook only in there for 40 minutes. Let's do a little speed test of the internet and see if we have. If there's too much jitter, wow, 19 milliseconds. But see, the download speed is not so good. Upload speed, and then 51 megabits per second. We need like 10. But the jitter is 32 milliseconds. Yeah, that's it's the wave. The wave's a little too high for Facebook. Jitter is a bad thing. It can break a connection. Think of it as high waves in a canoe. Anyway, so you get 2,000 interests. So each entity gets $1,000 a month. Chelmsford Tower and the St. Jude Hospital for Young Children, the Danny Thomas Hospital. Yeah, we contribute to them right now, so we just increase the amount. It's not bad, right? Each one gets 2,000 a month. That's really good. So that's how, and then the other 17 million, Marilyn and Jim retain. And when we pass away, that 17 million will be distributed in a very similar way that I just mentioned. Personal family. It's not bad. So we have a check writing ceremony, to hand out the millions. You have 17 million left over. We'll take 7 million of that and buy a nice condo inside the property of the Boca Raton Resort Club. Join the club. Move to the hotel immediately. Move us and the cats and dog to a suite somewhere in the Boca Resort thing. Sure, they got a nice big, suite. Stay there for a couple of months while we buy our condo and do everything and stay out of the where we personally reside, because be hounded by people. Oh, those are the people that want to know. Yeah, so that's why you move into the hotel, they don't know who the hell they are. Everyone that moves there has money, so you just one of the other people that moves and has money. So you buy a $7 million gun, you got 10 million left over. So let's do the math here. 10 million times 0.04% interest. That's 400,000 divided by 12. 33,000 a month. It's kind of hard to spend that money, but with a $10 million condo or $7 million condo, making that up. You got 10 million left over. That 7 million includes all closing costs and everything. Yeah, moving expense, everything. So a 6 million condo and other expenses. Put it that way. So now we got to live 33,000 a month. Well, that's $6.5 million condo. It's probably going to have a, $18,000 or $20,000 maintenance fee. Yeah. So, that starts eating into that 33,000 a month. When you got 18,000 maintenance and taxes, insurance, all of a sudden, yeah. $2. So you figure $3 a square foot. $10,000. Taxes, insurance, and maintenance. No, it's going to be more than that. 20,000 a month. You only have 33,000 a month in it. So now you got 10,000 a month left over for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and buying clothes. All right. Probably have to eat into some of that 10 million. Yeah. It's 11:15. It's Monday morning. Almost Monday noon. It's Monday morning until it's noon. We've been on the air an hour and 46 minutes. You can see the elapsed time. I've just about talked my way through this 34 million, but that's spent pretty quick. It spends quick, It's life-changing, but it spends fast. Probably make that a $5 million condo. There's plenty of those. Whatever it takes. So sitting on my feet. It's probably time to get off the air and catch a little lunch. I haven't eaten really. I drunk down my coffee. How about you guys? Stock market is down 227. We're down to 47,690. Tesla is up to 351. It's been, let's go take a look. This is stock market. Here's what the stocks I follow. Here's the Dow. Down 0.5%, which is nothing. And Tesla is up 0.5%. That's nothing. 350. Here's the thing. It'll probably be, who knows. By the time people go to lunch, and it'll be down another 5. PE ratio is at 324. It's too high. They got all kinds of great things happening, but until it happens, there's only so much. People are saying, well, how come the stock ain't going higher until Robotaxi really gets, multi-state, and it starts to really scale and starts, showing the beginnings, the very beginnings of some income. Right now, it's, none. How much far in advance? It takes a year to get this thing launched. And the year after that, when you really see any kind of income or expense, what do you call it? Same thing with the robots. They're going to make these humanoid robots, a million of those. Well, they've made 100 or 1,000. That's not a million. A million is 8,000 a month, right? 8333. Get your calculator out. 8333 times 12. There you go. 99,999. That's 99,000. Come on. Million. Divided by 12. 83,000. I had the wrong order of magnitude. Yeah, that's a lot. You know, they've got 1,000. You got to do 83,000. So let's get to 10,000. You know, I mean, you got to show you know. I mean, Wall Street is, you know, you got to prove it to them. You know, you can do all this smoke and mirror stuff, but there has to be evidence of, you know, stuff. Where am I? Winter storm watch issued. 4 feet of snow, 90 minutes. What? CDC delays publishing a report showing COVID vaccine. What year are we in here? Have we just done a time lapse? Flipboard was a game. 3D creation. Let's just go here. There we go here. Here's the whole golf thing. What the hell's all this? Rory reveals that Cam Young was pulled into the hedges by referees during the final round to have a chat. Rory is the first and the fourth man ever to win back-to-back green jackets. He was playing alongside of him. He was in the final pairing. What happened on hole 13? Whoops, McIntyre stuck his middle finger up. Code of conduct. Oh, well. Little dog is very busy doing something. I hear a lot of rumbling back. You can probably hear it in the background. Oh, UK not supporting US Iran blockade. Yeah, Trump said, hey, hell with that. Not going to have Iran. I'm just going to blockade it. Let's see what I'm seeing, I think. There we go. Now you can see everything I'm seeing. The stuff you can add to the camera, you don't need that with an iPhone. You got a 300 millimeter lens built right into your iPhone. You go even more digital further than that. And you got 45 million pixels, so you know you really got all the telephoto you need. Although I bet you next year they may go to 10x. I don't know what they're gonna take that telephoto lens, I think, out of the, if you get the iPhone Fold. I'm likely gonna get the Fold. I don't know what Marilyn's gonna do. Katy Perry accused of sexual assault. Whoa. Okay. She grabbed someone's unit and banged it on something. What could that be? Yeah, that's it. Oh, it's not showing on my shoes, my sneakers. I can't figure out how that works. Sitting on my legs. I think she wants me to pay attention to her. Apple is shuttering its first unionized store. Let's click on that, see what state we're in. Towson, Maryland, north of Baltimore, voted to unionize with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, the IAM, 2022. A second Apple store in Oklahoma City voted to unionize shortly after Townsend's historic action. Other Apple unionization efforts have petered out in the rest of the country. Towson employees were notified of the closure at a Thursday morning staff call. The group ratified its first contract with 2021 and set to expire in 2027. Too bad. Yeah. The unionization efforts failed and the store is being closed. Yeah, not enough sales. The employees aren't living up to expectation. You know. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, close the store. That's pretty serious business. That costs the company millions and millions, millions. Last hunt here. All right, iPods Pro 3 have key upgrade to stop you from. Oh, has a loss prevention thing. Something inside them. What helps? Packs a lot of improvements. Second gen ultra wide band chip enables precision finding from greater distances. Yeah. You call it a UWA chip, ultra wide band chip. Ultra wide band, UWB. U1 chip, now it's a UAB chip. With the UAB ultra wideband chip, it's easier than ever to find a lost. It points the arrow where it is. Yeah. It's like what I use on my Apple Watch all the time. I push a button on my Apple Watch and it finds my iPhone. My iPhone starts beeping. And then on the watch, there's an arrow. It shows you which direction it's at. You said you can hear it, But in case your phone is buried under a bunch of pillows or something and you can't hear it, there's an arrow that points where it is.
It's 11:30.
It's 11:30. My computer just told me. We've been on here 2 hours, so I think we'll call it a day. And this is Monday, so we'll probably see it for sure tomorrow night with the Tuesday drawing of the, what do you call it? Mega Millions. See if anyway. It takes until 12:45, 1. It takes an hour and a half or so before they really know if there's a jackpot winner. They got the Mega Millions computers to figure out if anyone actually got the right combination. Yeah. But by 12:30, they know. And then you might see $130 million rollover, or it goes back to $50 million if there's a grand prize winner somewhere. And if they don't claim it in 180 days, the grand prize, all those lottery sales, I think it's split up between imagine the offices of each state in the 45 states and the District of Columbia. And I don't know what happens to all those ticket sales that were attributed to the annuity, the amount of money they would have to pay to get that lump sum. So they actually buy the annuity, sell the annuity to some bank, and they pay up $53 million. I'm going to take a wild guess. They buy that annuity from a banking institution, that creates interest, and, they buy that annuity. Could be Lloyd's of London, could be Bank of America, Securities, could be some international something or other. They invest in the annuity. They buy the annuity, and they make the breakage on the 5% annuity. So they can invest the funds in 7%, and they got to pay 5%. They make 2%. I'm making that up, but that's what happens, because the lottery officials will try to check to the annuity people for it's bid out, with an RFP, request for a proposal, and they'll send an RFP out to the top 20 banks in the world to, create this annuity and pay the $1,806,170. So that's then. So let's just say they bought the annuity at par at the 50. Let's just say they paid $54 million Someone paid 54 million. Someone was willing to accept. Say this correctly. Someone was willing to accept 54 million to create this annuity with the payments as I've shown, and over 30 payments, it's 120 million. Yeah. So the lottery officials had to pay 54 million to the annuity investor creator. Yeah. And that money flows out to the annuity company. And they actually write the check back to Mega Millions through $1,806,000, and then that money is then transferred to the lottery winner. And then the year after that, it's $1,881,000 round numbers, 5% bigger than the. And then the year after that, it's $1,009,000, and it ends up to be a $2 million, and it ends up growing with that 5% compounding. That $1,008,000 grows to 4 times that. Yeah, $7 or $8 million payments in that last payment. And then you add them all up, 30 payments adds up to 120 million on the button. Yep. One last note. Manhattan DA's office is investigating the Swalwell sexual assault allegations that have come out against him. And he has dropped out of the governor's race for governor of California. Can you imagine? He's got like 3 or 4 women that have been assaulted by this guy sexually. A monster. And there are going to be ethics charges brought up in Congress, and he'll be thrown out of Congress. He's in the shitter. When the Manhattan DA's office is investigating him for assault allegations, and they've got text messages and photos and timestamp, all this stuff. The women have documentation for their assault. One woman was supposedly raped. She wakes up and he's on top of her, and she goes into some state of being berserk, throwing him to the ground. You can imagine. You wake up and some stranger's inside you. Drugged, apparently. Crazy world. And somehow or other was announced this morning that he's dropping out of the races. He can't be in those races. So anyway, the campaign financing that he's received from investors, he's probably gonna use that money. He's not gonna return it. He's going to use it for his legal defense fund. That'll be another scandal. But while the scandal is scandaling, he's going to be paying legal fees out of that money. So instead of buying advertising for his campaigns, he's trapped that money. I mean, it goes into his personal account. When you write a campaign check, that money's gone. Now, they'll probably sue to try to get it back, but, 2 years later, he's in jail. Lots of luck. Or whatever happens to him. Innocent until proven guilty in a court of law with a jury of your peers. You have to, you get indicted, and then you plead innocent or plead guilty, and he went on and said, "I've done nothing," and then all of a sudden, all these charged, and they say, "Oh yeah, no, justice." and the Manhattan DA's office are both investigating. He's being investigated federally and locally, wherever these things happen. Yeah. Anyway, that's full self. I'll tell you what, that full self-driving works. So every car that Tesla has made, just so you know, every car that Tesla has manufactured since March of 2021, this is 26. So for the last 5 years, every single car that Tesla has manufactured, the hardware version would be 4, meaning a supercomputer 4 with the 2 sets of computers operating simultaneously. So if one computer fails, the other one takes over. It's kind of what you have when you have an autopilot. You want to make sure there's any kind of an electrical disturbance that kills the computer. The other computer takes over, totally independent. So all that's wired in. But every car manufactured has the ability. It's totally robotic, and you can type in the address. Say, take me to Houston's Boca Raton, and you're all strapped in. You hit start, and he'll take you to Houston's. It'll follow all the traffic signs, red lights, green lights, stop signs, left turns, right turns, get on the highway, don't get on the highway, whatever. Take me to Houston's Boca Raton, takes you right there. It's like 4 miles away. I was at Houston's a couple of weeks ago with Marilyn, of course. It was Saturday, I believe. And I had 1 glass of wine too many, in my humble opinion. And although it was full self-driving supervised, I figured, you know what, let the computer drive me home and I'll kind of watch over it the best I can. But it'll be a whole lot better driver than I am right now. And it took us home. I didn't have to touch. I had my hands on my knees and my feet not on the pedals. And it drove, it turned, it stopped, it goed. It made left turns, right turns, did everything. And right when it got to the parking garage, I took over because the system doesn't know how to take me to parking spot number 266. That's coming, I understand, in the next release or two. But that's something that's not quite worked out yet with the software. So I want to be able to tell it parking spot 266 in my 3rd level of my parking garage. So we can go around in my parking garage and get in 266 and nose straight in, so I can plug it in. So the socket and the plug are close to each other. So I want to tell it that too, because these cars always back into parking places. So I don't want it back in it. I want it to nose straight in. Yeah. So some of those details, there's not a provision for entering that kind of detail. So apparently that's coming for parking in a parking garage scenario. So it'd be a Q&A board that comes up, and you tell it, what to do, and it should do it. It's got 7 cameras. Make sure it doesn't hit a column. That'll be a nice day. Marilyn says our next Tesla, she would like to have it red with a white interior. I agreed, of course. See what's in March of next year, which is 11 months away. The lease is up. Every payment made exactly on time. All right, sports fans. 2 hours, 15 minutes, and 22 seconds. And I'm going to sign off. So, you all have a great day. See you tomorrow night. Lots of luck. Go buy yourself a Mega Millions ticket. See what happens. Who knows? You may get struck by lightning and win. 290 to 1 chance. 291 million to 1 chance. You will not win, but what the hell? If you don't play, you can't win. There are $1 million prizes. There are $10,000 prizes. There's $1,000 prizes. They got a bunch of underneath prizes too. I mean, there are like 12,000 prizes that are handed out every Mega Millions drawing. Even though the jackpot wasn't won, there are a bunch of other prize winnings that have won. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
It's 11:45.